touchdown, time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog, or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season here, Philly time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in. What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and today we have a very special guest. We have my guy Philly 500, the King Ding Bat himself. What's going on, my brother? How you doing, man?
What is happening, man? Thank you so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Definitely. We're going to have some fun, man. So, I know that we've all talked about the draft. We all, posted our emotions during the draft. But, being basically a week removed from the draft, right? A week and a day now. How are you feeling about these guys? I'm sure you've been able to kind of watch some more film on them and kind of study them a little bit more. Has your opinion changed since draft night, or are you kind of still where you were?
I'm pretty much still where I am because first of all, they took Devonta Smith. That was a top 4 guy that I wanted in this draft. So once they did that, we were in good shape. The Landon Dickerson pick, I had no problem with them drafting him. I just thought they manipulated. I think if they would have played it differently, I think they could have gotten another starter and still got him. But that's just my theory. So overall, I'm very happy with the draft. It hasn't really changed too much since we went through it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. I mean, like, I have, how do I say this? I've bought in more a little bit into some of these players, like especially some of the later round guys. You see the talent. I still question like that second and third round pick. Like you said, I understand the second round pick. The concerns are really what kill me. Is like the injury concerns are really what scare me, especially with our history. So that's really what concerns me with the second round pick. I feel like the third round pick, we just kind of got we got maybe the second, third best player on the board at a position where we're very deep. So, I'm hoping that Milton Williams can be something great, but it was kind of a reach for me right now. So,
well, even the Milton Williams pick, and I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
you're good.
Milton Williams, the Landon Dickerson pick. If you look at the Landon Dickerson pick, right, this is a guy with 2 ACLs, 2 knee injuries. Okay, so you get 2 ACLs, 2 knee injuries. You take him at 37. Now, I believe the Eagles could have took JOK or somebody else right there at 37 and then made a move to come back up and then take Landon Dickerson. So now you have 2 starters and you still get him. Now, you always hear after the fact, oh, well, he wouldn't have been there. We had to do it now. The same thing with Sidney Jones. They said the same thing. Mm-hmm. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Okay, and then the other pick, we were sitting there at 70. We went back at 73 for a 6th-round pick. Who the hell needs 4 6th-round picks? Like, really, why is that of value? And when they went back, the person they were targeting was gone. Then they took Milton Williams, which was a good pick, but he admittedly said that the Eagles never even talked to me. So to me, it wasn't so much the players. I have no problem with the players. I have more of a problem with the way that they dealt at 37 and at 73. I think they could have done a better job. That was my only complaint.
And I feel like we've all as fans just want to see this front office do things differently. And when you draft, you said it, you hit the nail on the head for me, because the night of, that we picked Landon Dickerson, that was the first thing that came to my head. I was like, this gives me that Sidney Jones vibe all over again. And this is probably way worse. Like, Sidney Jones came off one injury that happened, in training or in the combine. So it was a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Landon Dickerson literally, didn't finish a season. And I'm not saying he's not talented, but that's just a risk I wasn't ready to take for my team. And I agree with you 100%. You probably could have, even if it's not Landon Dickerson, you could have sold me on that 3rd round pick. If you took somebody that you're just like, he's the best player, you got to take a need. There was so many good players at the 2nd round pick. And obviously hindsight is 2020. We see Jeremiah Owusu kind of fell pretty far. Certain players fell pretty far that we were probably high on, but you can't tell me that even Zech McPherson, man, shout out to Zech McPherson. I think he's a good guy, but even that felt like a reach pick. Like I got nervous. We just saw all these cornerbacks come off the board. We got to get who, you know, we think can be the next great guy. So the second, third, and fourth round are really like kind of weird picks for me. But other than that, I like it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So it's weird because the first round pick, I don't think I've ever been that happy, like in my life as an Eagles fan.
No.
So it's like, it's such a weird draft. I mean, if you had to go back though, looking at the Devonta Smith pick, right? And looking at the trade prior to that pick, you know, I know we've all talked about, you know, it was way early. Why? Do you think that it made sense now? Like looking back, does that trade make sense or was it still too early?
It looks genius. It looks genius because you trade back from 6, right? And the idea is you're trading back for 6, and people, and most people, especially me, I thought Kyle Pitts and Ja'Marr Chase both could be there, but the board did not fall like that. They never even made it. So I had 4 guys that I would have taken at 6: Penny Sewell, Kyle Pitts, Ja'Marr Chase, or Devonta Smith. So we were able to go back to 12, get another first-round pick, trade a third-round pick, get to 10. Get Devonta Smith, who was a guy I would have took at 6 anyways. So to me, it's a genius move, no question about it. And as far as the McPherson thing, I want to say I really liked that pick. That was a pick I was very happy with. Just putting it out there.
Why is that? I have to ask now. I mean, and like I said, I did watch him. I do feel like he has a lot of potential. It just felt like it was like a panic pick to me. Like I felt like we saw all those cornerbacks come on
because we needed a defensive back. He's a guy who absolutely has some skill and some skill set. Comes from a football family, baseball family, a good athlete, and then you take Jonathan Gannon and you think of him as a guy who develops defensive backs. So I was okay with that pick. I have no issue with that pick at all. I don't have even an issue with the Landon Dickerson pick, except for the fact that I thought they could have manipulated or took them a little later. Like, I would have traded a third and a second round pick next year and moved right back into the second round and just drafted them. That's what I would have done. And then nobody would complain if you had, let's say you had Devonta Smith, Sante Samuel Jr., and then Landon Dickerson. You wouldn't hear a complaint from anybody.
Yeah, even if it meant we had no third round pick, I would have been down with that. You know, you gotta make what you got to do what you got to do to get who you think is the best player. And I do think Landon Dickerson can be an immediate impact player if he's healthy, and that's literally the only thing. That's the only thing that worries me about him. It's a big thing, but
if that dude's healthy, he's gonna be double moonwalking ass all over the place. That dude's the real deal. He's just got to stay healthy.
Exactly. So let's stay on cornerbacks for a second. I mean, look, this is the time where I feel like everybody gets a little bit bored as far as writers go and stuff. So we're going to see a lot of rumors, a lot of my source told me, but there's, you know, rumors out there that we are still in the market for a cornerback. How would you feel about us going after somebody like a Steven Nelson or a Richard Sherman or somebody, you know, older?
Steven Nelson, cheap, that's fine. A Gary Conley, I wouldn't mind. I expect the Eagles to bring in 2 veteran corners in June. I think after you get to June, I think they're going to try to get somebody cheap. You know, there's a part of me though that feels like the Eagles don't really care about that. Like if you look at their whole draft, nothing was for next year. It was all about 2 or 3 years down the road. They have 3 first-round picks. They may be like, what the hell with it? Who cares if it costs us a couple games? We'll get a better pick. I know that sounds bad. Maybe that's the pessimistic side of me, but I can't help but wonder if they don't care. I really do.
I hear that too. And it's you listen to what they say, right? And it's like sometimes I don't know if they're lying to us or if they're lying to themselves. Because it's like in the beginning of the offseason, you fired your coach because he didn't think it would be a 1-year process, you know, or he thought it could be, you know, mendable this year, right? Thought we could be competitive. You didn't think that. You thought it was a 2 to 3 year process. Now you're on the radio and you're saying, you know, we're trying to beat that 2-year timetable as far as, you know, so like, I don't know if it's lip service. I don't know if they're just trying to get us hype for the season, but they still know we might not be that good. I don't know if they think they nailed the draft.
Well, I'll say this. Go think of the Sixers and the tank, right? The biggest mistake the Sixers made wasn't tanking. That was smart. The biggest thing they did wrong was they admitted it. You never admit it. You always come up with some excuse. So the Eagles would play it, I think, much better and a lot less honest. So if they really don't care if they win 8-9 games next year, I'm not saying that they don't care, but they're obviously on a 2 to 3 year window just by the way they've acted this all season.
Yeah.
So of course they're not going to say it.
You'd hope so. You'd hope that there's competition out there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really.
I think the Eagles are going to win I think they could win a division. I think they could win it just if you have Lane Johnson back, Brandon Brooks back, Kelsey back. Tell me they play 16 games this year and Jalen Hurts takes the next step. You're going to win. You could win the division.
I agree. I think our division isn't that great. And I think that we're a lot better than people. I don't want to say a lot, but I think we're better than people are expecting us to be. We're young, we're athletic, and people don't have tape on us. That's like the biggest thing out, especially in the NFL. When people don't know what you're going to do, it helps. Even if it's only for 3 or 4 games until they figure you out, it's definitely going to be a big help. So let me ask you this. Do you think there's a clear winner as far as the NFC East in this draft, or or at least loser? Is there a clear winner or loser in this draft?
Well, I mean, if we just were going on a first round pick, I would no, I can't even say that because the Giants trade back from 11, they get a first round pick next year. That was smart. I didn't like the Kadarius Toney pick. I thought that was a reach for them. But I mean, I think the division. I think they all did fairly well this year. Actually, to be honest with you,
I can't hate on.
I just don't like the Giants' first pick. I thought that was bad. And the other problem, Giants draft, they didn't draft any offensive linemen, and I think that's on that team.
Yeah, that's a fact. And it's weird to me. You bring that up. It's weird to me that I feel like in a very clear. I don't even want to say weak, but it wasn't a heavy defensive line draft, right? I think that's something that everybody kind of went into this draft kind of assuming or agreeing upon. So, and that's like literally where, and next year is supposed to be a monster of a class for D-line. So it's just weird that we decided to go so heavy on D-line this year instead of maybe waiting for next year. I don't know. It's weird. I hope that they're all good players, but it gives me that I know more than you type vibe from Howie.
It will not affect the Eagles from drafting a pass rusher in the first round.
Facts.
It won't. No, a lot of those guys. I mean, to me, they're interior linemen more than outside edge rushers. You get that kid, the one kid, Tyron Jackson or whatever it is. He's an edge rusher. Then you get the last pick that they're trying to convert to from a 3-4 linebacker to a 4-3 defensive end. I don't know that they really got prepared. They got some defensive tackles, though. No doubt.
Yeah. Now, shout out to my guy, AK Eagles. He's talking about trading Ertz to Pats for Gilmore and maybe a 3rd or 4th. I don't know. I was thinking about this, and maybe not the Pats. Obviously, they just picked up like 45 tight ends in the offseason. But is there a trade? Is there still a possibility that he's traded? We did have just a couple of days ago, we had Show Kapadia on here, and he said he's feeling like it's more so likely that he will be gone than he will stay. Is there any team out there? I mean, is Colts still just like the only team you can think of that he would probably end up at?
No, I mean, I'm sure there's some teams. There's got to be teams that didn't get a tight end in the draft that would like to upgrade it. And let me tell you, I talked about this the other day in a video. You have the Patriots. Yes, they signed a bunch of tight ends, but you cannot tell me a team that has gone all in would not look to upgrade every position even now. And yes, they paid those guys money, but I just watched the Eagles eat $34 million in dead money for Carson Wentz. You can't tell me a team is not going to upgrade because of that. So the only way I would go after Gilmore is if I could move Ertz. I'm not giving up draft picks, though. I'm telling you right now, I'm not doing it.
I hear that.
I
mean, Gilmore, a lot of people don't realize he is cheap-ish in a sense because he is only $7 million this year, I believe. And I don't know how much of that we would actually eat on the cap. But so, I mean, in a sense, for a Gilmore type level player, I guess he is cheap, but he is a 1-year rental. You know what I'm saying? Especially at that price tag. So it begs the question if they think that, they can be a contender. Because do you think if we add just another linebacker and another cornerback, like, what are still our big glaring needs? Because we have that wide receiver now that we think can be that guy. Our offensive line is still to me a top 5, top 7 when healthy. Our D-line was, I think, top 3 in sacks last year. We obviously add to that. So, I mean, the optics of it, we looked bad last year. I'm not going to sit here and lie about that, but we might have a better team than we expect. Right. So, like, do you think we can add a couple players and become a really competitive team, like in the playoffs types?
I don't think you could be a contender. I think there's too many holes to be a Super Bowl contender, right?
Okay.
Like I think you need a safety. I still think we've got question marks at linebackers. I still think the defensive end spot is not safe. I mean, Derek Barnett has not played well. Yes, they get sacks and things like that, but I think they need to be better. I don't like the left guard. I don't like Sayamalu. I don't like that side of the ball. I don't like that. I like the left tackle. I like Kelsey, Johnson, and Brooks if they're healthy. But can they stay healthy? And really, it's all about Jalen Hurts. I think the Eagles. I don't know. I mean, I think they can be competitive. I think they can win the division. I think they can go to the playoffs. But if you add like a Stephon Gilmore, are you a Super Bowl contender? I don't know. I don't know that I can say that.
I respect that. Shout out to my guy Eagle or girl, I don't even know. Eagles UK for becoming a channel member. I appreciate that. I mean it's one of those seasons that I want to be optimistic. I want to be hyped, but we really don't know what's going to happen. I mean, and we're chopping up our coach over, rock, paper, scissors and stuff like that. But I think that's what we needed. You know what I'm saying? We needed kind of a jolt of, maybe not just youth, but, that energy. I don't feel like we've really had that since even Doug Peterson. I mean, he had it for a little while when he was handing out ice cream and stuff, but I feel like this guy's way more of an accountability type guy. You know what I'm saying? He'll be your friend up until a level. So, like, what are your thoughts about this coaching staff so far? I mean, it's a brand new Eagles.
I love the coaching staff. My favorite thing besides the Devonta Smith thing is this coaching staff. I love Nick Sirianni. I think he's smart. I think the only reason you got Devonta Smith was because you ever watch the movie Inception?
Yeah.
He put a thought in Howie Roseman's brain to draft Devonta Smith. Otherwise, it was quiddy pay, mother humpers. It was quiddy pay. And I love them. I think that they're a very good coaching staff, and they're supposed to be very good at developing young talent. And that's what this team needs. You talk about the energy and we need an influx of youth and those kind of guys and top tier talent. Look, this team goes as far as Jalen Hurts. It's going to be, however good he's going to be. It's about Jalen Hurts. Whether we're a Super Bowl contender or not, I think we can get to the playoffs. I think we could do damage, possibly. Do I think we can legitimately go to Super Bowl? I don't know. I think that's kind of hard, but I'm still excited to watch this team. I think they're going to be very fun.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm excited. I've said all my lives before, the closer to the season comes, I get more unrealistic. Like, as soon as the season starts, I'm going to be going crazy, putting $100 on every game, thinking the Eagles are going to go undefeated. So
I'm sure I'm going to think they're going to the Super Bowl by August. Believe me.
Exactly.
Give me the first preseason game, right? Devonta Smith bomb. We're going to Super Bowl.
It's over.
That's it.
It's over.
That's it.
It's over. Shout out to Papasaurus. Says McPherson's going to be the cornerback 2 next year. We drafting Kyer Elam or Derek Stingley Jr. to replace Slay. Still need a slot corner though. And before I get into this, because I do want to ask you how you think that DB room and the secondary and everything will shake up. I do want to tell everybody, if you guys come back tomorrow at 12:30, we are going to have Jacoby Stevens, the new Philadelphia Eagles. Someone that I'm kind of wanting to figure out where he's going to be lining up. Obviously, he was a safety in college, but they're talking more linebacker with him. How do you see the cornerback room lining up? Do you think Maddox is going to be that opposite of Slay? Or
as of right now, I think it's Maddox. As of right now, I think it's Maddox. But I really think they're going to add 2 defensive backs in June. I really did. I think they'll add a veteran, maybe 2 veterans, and I think that's what they'll do. I don't know who they'll get. As far as Devontae Maddox, I loved Devontae Maddox's rookie year. I thought he fell off, and I just wonder with Jonathan Gannon how he can develop a guy like Devontae Maddox. So I'm willing to give him a shot to see, because I hold Jonathan Gannon in high esteem when it comes to developing defensive backs. So We'll see. But I do think they're going to add at least 2 guys. I really do.
They got to. There's no way we go.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised we went through the whole undrafted free agency, the whole draft damn near. Didn't really pick up any defensive backs. I think we're strong at safety. If I'm being 100% honest, like I don't want to say strong. I don't think we have like superstars there, but between Rodney McLeod, between Anthony Harris, between Kayvon Wallace if he stays back there, depending on what they do. Like I said with Jacoby Stevens, we have talent and we have youth. So I think we can get by there. But man, that cornerback position,
I like Anthony Harris. My big question is the other safety position. Who's going to take it? McLeod's coming back from an injury. So I don't expect a lot from him. And I hope Kayvon Wallace will show us something. But he didn't show us anything last year. So I have a big question mark at that second safety spot. But I do like Harris. I definitely do.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Rodney McLeod can come back from his injury. I don't know when. I think he is going to miss like a week or two. I'm not 100% on that. But yeah, I'm hoping that they can figure out something over there. Now let's switch sides. Obviously we went over the cornerbacks a little bit. What about these wide receivers? I know a lot of people are falling in love with Trayvon Grimes, as am I. I love Trayvon Grimes. But we obviously, like you said, we have Devonta Smith. Will we see the real Travis Fulgham, emerge this year? Like, who are some of these wide receivers that you're looking to maybe surprise people or
I'll tell you the guy you got to watch out for. Everybody hear this now. Mark this, clip this, I don't care. Quez Watkins is a player. Quez Watkins, I think, is going to win that job on the other side. I think he's even going to beat out Fulgham. I just think I really like Quez Watkins. So I think it's going to be Devonta Smith, Quez Watkins. You'll have Fulgham as a backup. I think they put Rager in a slot. I think Greg Ward Jr. makes a team as a backup. And then I think, guys like John Hightower, the umbrella man, he's got to go because there's no hope for him. And then exactly. I think Grimes makes it too.
Yeah, I like Grimes a lot. I think Grimes is exactly what they wanted in J-Jaw. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got that size, he's that 50-50, big radius type guy. So I like that guy. But we'll see. J-Jaw, I feel like he has we've been known to play paychecks and not necessarily players. So, I'm hoping that's not what happens with J-Jaw. I do like Quez Watkins a lot, mostly because of that versatility. Like I've said, I think a lot of these players, we look at people like Kenneth Gainwell, we look at people like Jason Huntley, they're younger and they're versatile, so they might push people like, Boston Scott or Jordan Howard just because of that versatility. And you can say the same thing about these wide receivers. Like you look at John Hightower, I like the guy, but what does he really offer me outside of that outside position? And he didn't even do it that great. So It's like, it comes down to that. But I do like Quez Watkins a lot because he can line up anywhere.
Every time I watch Quez Watkins play, I thought he was good and productive. They just didn't give him enough opportunity. Now, if he gets a fair shake this year on that outside position, I think he could win it. I think Fulgham could win it too. Don't get me wrong. Fulgham is a good player, but whatever they did to him really hurt him last year. When they put Alshon back in, took his reps away, it killed him. And as far as Grimes go, I think he makes it because the only guy he really has to beat out that's like him is the umbrella man. He stinks.
That's kind of what I was saying too. I feel like that's and I think he has the talent to make the roster. I don't think he's just going to be handed it, but I think that is his role, and there's not many people that are going to fit that role. So there's 2 wide receivers I want to specifically ask you about because these 2 guys, one, I'm starting to think he might not have a role on this roster, and the other one I just saw a little bit. You know how Twitter goes crazy sometimes in the morning. They didn't get their coffee, so I saw some rumors about that. So we'll start with the rumors, and then I'll go on to my thought. But okay. What are you thinking about Jalen Reagor? Because Twitter sphere is over here saying that we might be willing to move on from him. Do you think that's a realistic possibility?
No, I don't. No, they just invested a first-round pick. You think Howie Roseman is going to admit a mistake after 1 year of a coach that doesn't develop players? Okay, look, exactly. I can tell you right now, Why on earth would you not put Jalen Reagor on punt returns? Okay, when he's the only guy that did anything on punt returns all year on limited chances. I know he fumbled a couple catches. Who cares? Let him play. I think Reagor can play. I think Reagor needs a fair shake because, dude, he was hurt. There was no OTAs. There was no rookie mini camps. There was no training camp. There was no preseason. You know, not everybody is just going to have Justin Jefferson type year. It's not. You got to give guys a chance to develop. You don't throw them away. You don't cut them. You don't trade them right now. You keep them. I do think they're going to put him in a slot, and I think that's going to make his life easier, you know.
And we have, for the first time since I think Chip Kelly was here, we have a wide receivers coach coming back for the second time. So I'm sure he'll have a lot of influence on that. I know I heard about Travis Fulgham that they were talking about his work ethic a little bit, which I don't know how true that is. I don't really believe it, to be honest. He doesn't seem like that type of guy that's just going to kind of quit. But the other guy I wanted to talk about was Greg Ward. You know, I love Greg Ward. I'm a huge fan of Greg Ward. I think he's a fan favorite. But if you look at the mold of our wide receivers, he's not old by any means, but he's not getting any younger, and he's not really a fast guy. He's not really a big guy. He's more of a crisp route runner. And so where do you see Greg Ward falling in on this team, if you see him fitting this team right now?
If I had to predict the receivers that make the roster, I would have him making it. Only because I think he can play in the slot. I think Reagor will start in the slot, but you want a backup guy in the slot. He's the perfect guy. And I think he's the kind of guy you could bring off the bench and you know that he's going to come through for you. So I think he makes it. I don't think he's going to start, though. I don't. I think he's going to be on the bench. But I would have him making it. The two guys I have on the outs really are Hightower and the Umbrella Man, you know?
I love that name. Yeah, I saw a Happy Mother's Day card with him and his mom just holding the. But yeah,
I heard he's going in. He's starting his own umbrella business, dude. You know what I mean?
He needs to designer umbrellas. He used to be like a bodyguard. People keep telling me, which is insane to me. I don't know how anybody would pay him to.
Maybe that umbrella is like a machine gun. You ever see one?
Yeah, he's a secret spy. So all right. So let's go on to another position that's kind of getting crowded. So we turned from the quarterback factory to, it looks like, kind of the running back factory now. So we have a lot of running backs. And like I was saying, some of them are younger, some of them are, middle age, some of them just never really got a shot. So who are some of the guys you're looking at? And who do you think might make this roster?
Well, I think it's very competitive, right? And the way I'm seeing it, and this is just my own theory, but I think like bringing in Kerryon Johnson, I think he's brought in directly to compete with Jordan Howard because they do some similar type things. I think Gainwell competes with Boston Scott. Miles Sanders is safe. So I really think if I have to guess, I'll say the top 4 running backs on this team. Miles Sanders 1, I'm going to say Kerryon Johnson 2, Gainwell 3, and then Howard. I think those guys make the team. And then they might have like a Huntley or somebody may make it because I think the roster's expanded this year. So you may keep an extra spot. But that's how I assume.
I like that. And I think that it's going to be one of those things that you can kind of have situational guys, not necessarily like, because if you have, like you said, the top 2 being Kerryon Johnson and Miles Sanders, those are 2 similar but very different at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Kerryon Johnson is going to kind of run through you, whereas Miles Sanders will kind of shake you up. And
Kerryon Johnson, he has some good speed. Like second level, he's got speed. He can catch out of the backfield. Really good in pass protection, and he can run hard and get you short yardage situations too. So in some ways, he may do more than what they think Jordan Howard could do. So it's going to be interesting.
And I feel kind of bad for Jordan Howard because I feel like Jordan Howard is like that date that just, we just keep being like, listen, we're going to chill tomorrow. Something came up. I'm gonna call you next week. I'm going to call, and we just keep calling him next week. So I feel bad for him if he's not going to make this roster. But, hey, That's business. It is what it is. I mean, I do like Kenneth Gainwell. I feel like he's somebody that can kind of learn from somebody like Miles Sanders because I see a lot of similarities in their game.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be an interesting. Now, do you think we're going to be more of a run running first team? Because I mean, that's never really been our style.
I don't think we'll be a run first team, but I do think we'll be a more balanced team. I think if you want to look at what they're going to do, look at a lot of the Chargers last year and how they played, because where they got the offensive coordinator, right, the guy from
Yep.
the Chargers, they ran the ball. They were pretty well balanced. I think you're going to see that, mixed in with what the Colts did. So I think you'll see a more balanced. I think it'll look. I'm expecting it to look more like 2017 than in the past when we had Blunt and stuff like that.
Yeah, I sure hope so, because that was at least like close to being a run first. I think that's the closest we've ever gotten. But like, it'll be very interesting to see how much Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman really have their hand in it, because we saw this year, I should say, with all the rumors saying that they were even mad after the Green Bay game. So we'll see. Hopefully we can go out there and we can ball out. Now, I feel like this position is kind of the easiest position to talk about. I think we all are kind of on the same route with this. But how are you feeling about the quarterbacks room right now? I mean, we obviously have Flacco, but we obviously have Jalen Hurts going to be the guy, and adding Jamie Newman, Khalil Tate is in there, I guess. How confident are you in Jalen Hurts being that guy?
I think he's got a lot of poise, a lot of talent, but I cannot tell you definitively after 4 games. I just haven't seen enough. I like his work ethic. I like everything I'm hearing about him, everything that he does off the field, all the work he puts in. All that's giving me confidence, but I truly don't know. To me, it's a what and see. I'm hoping. Now, I tell this to people all the time. The quickest way for the Eagles to be competitive is for Jalen Hurts to be the guy. Then you don't have to use those 3 first-round picks next year for a quarterback. You pick other spots. So I'm rooting for him. I hope, but I don't know. It's only 4 games. I have no idea. I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
I feel you there. Now, what would the bar be? I think that's the biggest question that I've been asked. That's like the one question I can never really answer. Is like, what is the bar for him? Because like, we do have all those picks next year. We know how he got an itchy finger when it comes to trading up for QB. So, I mean, how good do you think he has to be in order to stay here?
I don't think he needs to throw 30 touchdowns or anything like that. I just think he needs to pass the eye test. Like, like the way the team respects him, the way they play for him, and play better than he did last year. Show that he's developed. And then win some games and be competitive for the division. If he does that, to me, then he's probably pretty decent. If he's bad, we're going to have a really bad record. So to me, it's going to be more of an eye test. There's no statistic to me that says, oh, that means he's the guy. He's kind of got to pass the eye test.
I agree 100%. It's stats and numbers get kind of overrated, especially when you have, like, depending on what the system's going to look like, because he might not be able to throw for 3,000-4,000 yards because of the system. It might be something that is going to be a real quick type plays and stuff like that. So we don't know what we're going to see, but I do have some type of excitement. I don't know. Like I said, I do get more and more unrealistic once I get closer to the season. But
excited. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I just think that there's something about these kids. Like, I really, and I hate to say it like that. I'm a 31-year-old guy calling these guys kids that make millions of dollars.
Young.
But it is what it is. But these young men, I'm excited. I love to see the energy. I really don't feel like we've had this in a while. I think it was kind of, especially after the Super Bowl, I felt like it was kind of everybody got their lunch pail and just kind of went to work. We lost that family thing.
It was needed, though. We needed the influx of youth. I mean, even when they drafted Carson Wentz, right? Then they tried to take advantage of the cap and his cap number, and they brought in guys like Alshon Jeffrey. They brought in older guys, partly because they drafted so bad. And then after winning the Super Bowl in 2017, instead of kind of cleaning house and getting younger, they just kept all these old guys. So we really haven't even had that with Carson. Now you're seeing an influx of youth. You got a quarterback, a receiver, a running back, all young, right? Then, there's some spots on the defensive line that definitely have to get younger. The offensive line, you get Dickerson. He should replace Kelsey. So they're starting to do it. It's not going to be a one-year process. It's going to be a few years,
Yeah, I mean, look, I feel like this team, as far as the front office goes, because I know we all want to see Howie Roseman fired. It's not going to happen. Like, they're tied at the hip in my opinion. Like, the most that I think will happen is he gets like demoted or something. You know what I'm saying?
He's got photos on Jeffrey Lurie in a brothel in Mexico. I promise you, there's something going on.
He was at the masseuse parlor with Deshaun Watson. Well, let me ask you that, because I saw that as well. I saw a lot of people talking about if Deshaun Watson's available, you go after him. Aaron Rodgers is now looking like he's available. Russell Wilson hates Pete Carroll now. Like, there's so much drama in the NFC like that. You remember that song? There's so much drama in the LVC. That was
here's what.
Anyway,
I'm a big Deshaun Watson fan. Okay, of his on the field play and stuff. I really like the kid. Here's the interesting thing: if Jalen Hurts is not the guy, let's say we come out of next year saying Jalen Hurts is not the guy, there could be a situation where Watson's finally cleared of all his crap, and then they're going to look to move him. They're not going to get a lot for him. At that point, if we knew Jalen Hurts was not the guy, hypothetically speaking, and I could get Deshaun Watson, I'd do it in a heartbeat. It wouldn't even bat an eye. But I have to know Jalen Hurts isn't the guy. But Watson ain't playing this year because he's got too much things going on, right? But in a year when Jalen Hurts, we don't know that he's the guy, or maybe we do know that. Let's say we know he's not the guy. Maybe that's when you make the move. If they went for Watson, I would have no problem with it. But my hope is that that's not the case. My hope is Hurts is the guy. And then we can go use those 3 first-round picks, get like a defensive end, get a cornerback, and just load up. As far as Aaron Rodgers goes, he's too old. He's great, but too old. If I was Washington, I would go all in on him because I think they could win a Super Bowl with him.
That's true. That's kind of the scariest thing. I think that's the only thing I don't want to see happen. Like, people keep on asking me, hey, what do you think is going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? Where he's going to go? I'm like, anywhere but the NFC East. Like, anywhere. Keeping on NFC East quarterbacks, I do want to ask you about your opinion on this guy. I mean, Daniel Jones. I feel like some people are he's either the GOAT, the next GOAT to some people, or he's just the worst player in the world. Like, where do you lie on that? Daniel Jones issue, I guess.
If I'm just trying to piss off like Capizzle, he stinks. He stinks. But if I'm being honest, I think Daniel Jones is like I don't know. He I don't know. I don't know what he is. This is why I think this is such a big make or break year for him, because they gave him weapons. They brought in Galladay. They brought in all this. They get Kadarius Toney. They get John Ross. And if he doesn't pan out this year, I think he's not the guy. But the only issue that they've screwed up is I don't think they addressed their offensive line. So he's going to take a beating. If I had to guess, if I had to put money on it, I say Daniel Jones is not the guy. But we got to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we'll see with this NFC East has so many questions. I feel like, every team has a lot of question marks, whether it's offense or defense. Right. So, we're right in the thick of things. But the last question I want to ask you, all right, I want to know if you could have went back to the NFL draft, right? We're sitting there at the, second. We'll move on from the first round pick because I feel like everybody was happy there, right?
Yep.
If you could have changed one pick, if you could have realistically changed one pick, which pick would that have been? Like, no trades or anything like that. Just one pick. There was a guy on the board that I would have changed. You know what I'm saying?
I probably would have took JOK. I know he had heart. I wouldn't care. I would have took JOK because I looked at him and I think he went like in the 40s. So he didn't go much later anyways. But there's a guy that was already dropped. He's a top 15 to 20 talent. And you can literally build your defense around this guy for years to come.
Exactly.
And he starts and plays day one. So I would have, on a personal level, I would have taken him. But I tell you what, I would have come right back up for Landon Dickerson. And I would have spent extra to do it.
Yeah, I would have been so cool with that. That was like literally what I was hoping would happen. It's like just spend the assets. You have the assets, but
Have it.
maybe they see something in next year that we don't,
Now
or
look. If in 2 years this kid's still healthy, then no, it was the right move because I don't have any doubt that if Landon Dickerson plays, he's not going to be. I think he's a stud. It's just
yeah,
he got just a lot of injuries. Those are a
yeah,
lot of injuries. Like when me and Joey were doing the draft, it was like, oh well, I was like, I just was watching a bunch of stuff on this guy. He had an ACL. I thought it was one ACL, no big deal, but it was like two ACLs, two ankles. So it's a little scary.
And someone told me, I have like a lot of like health nuts that follow the channel and stuff, and they were telling me that apparently when you tear your ACL, it comes back stronger. So he might have like bionic ACLs at this point because.
Well, look, he's also a big dude. I mean, he's 6'6",
Yeah.
like 325. That's a lot of pressure on your knees and your ankle. He had to have the same ankle surgery Lane Johnson had.
Yeah.
So
and the way he plays is just very seductive to that. So like you're gonna get, I don't want to say you're gonna get hurt, but you're putting yourself at a bigger risk just because he plays so violent. He just uses his body as a weapon.
It's a high it's a high risk, high reward. And if this guy's healthy, I think you've got yourself one of the best offensive linemen you've had in a long time. But that's the whole question. I don't know. My whole thing wasn't even taken. Like I said, I just think they could have took JOK and then made a move and gone up and got him anyways. Because I don't believe he was going to go at 38, 39, 40. I don't believe he was going there. And people say, well, he was going to go to New England next pick. Well, they said the same thing about Sidney Jones. And then years later it came out that Sidney Jones wasn't going to go to the third or fourth round. So, I don't know. But I hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully he got all his injuries out of the way, and that can happen too. So who knows?
And that's another thing. I mean, I think I'm nervous about it because of our history. You look at our training staff hasn't been award winning. I think is a nice way of putting it. But we've had a lot of injuries, so that scares me. But maybe with this new coach, with this new system, with this new training staff, things will be different. There's a lot of new things, but hopefully we find a new norm.
At the end of the day, they got the best player they could in the first. They got Devonta Smith. Just getting Devonta Smith to me made the draft successful. I know that sounds so bad, but I think he's going to be a stud. Like I think this guy is going to tear this league up. I love Devonta Smith.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. I feel like this is going to be one of those years that the Eagles surprise the heck out of me. And I'm going to be sitting here eating crow saying, hey, I was wrong. I'm happy I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people, when I try to be realistic, people think I'm going to be mad if we win or something like that. No. I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong about everything that I say.
Hey, look, according to my wife, I'm always wrong. So, so keep bringing it. I have no problems with being wrong. I don't even know, I don't know what's right or what's wrong because I don't know what's realistic. I don't know if it's realistic to say this team wins 4 games last year. Now they can go win a Super Bowl. I don't think that's realistic. But to say this team can make the playoffs and be competitive in their division and win their division, I think that's fair. And I don't think I don't even think that's a bad thing because I think this thing is a 2-year rebuild. So if you do it right in 2 years, you're back to competing. It really depends on Jalen Hurts. And don't forget, we got 4th place schedule this year. And like you said earlier, we got a coach that nobody's seen play. So we may start a good 3-0. We did it with Doug Peterson his rookie year. Mm-hmm. What if you start off 3-4-0, 4-1 because people don't have tape on you yet? Well, guess what? You're going to be competitive for the division the rest of the year at that point. Giants aren't that good. I mean, what's so great about the Giants? Well, Washington, if I was a betting man and I had to bet money on somebody to win the division, non-Eagles, it would be Washington because they're the most well-balanced. They just need a quarterback. And then Dallas has no defense, and then Dak is coming back from an injury, which was a brutal injury. May take him a year to come back from. Saquon
Facts.
Barkley too could take him a whole year. So I don't know how anybody in this division can think that they are going to just run through it and easily win it. I think it's competitive, wide open, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a high flying offense, hopefully. You know, pun intended.
What
Pun
we
intended.
need, what we need is the Giants week 1 at MetLife Stadium. I want that more than anything. I want the Giants week 1, and I want to double moonwalk that ass so bad.
I don't know why they want it so bad. They won one game in like the last like 9 meetings.
Because we destroy all their plans and hopes and dreams.
Literally.
You know?
Literally.
We
like from the season to the draft.
It's beautiful. I love it.
It was. If you're gonna lose, you know what I'm saying? That's the way to lose. If you're gonna move up in the draft, that's the guys to move up in front of. And to do it with the Cowboys, look, Cowboy Nation, we still hate you, but good looking out. We appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? We'll say thank you for that. But hey, Joey, I mean, I was about to say Joey. Hey, Philly 500. We about to get out of here, man. I appreciate you so much coming on here, just taking your time, man. It was a lot of fun. It's always fun talking to you, man.
Oh, I you know, anytime you need me to come on, just ask. I love coming on. You do a great job. Watch every day. Keep up the great work, man. Thank you for having me on.
Definitely. And thank you, everybody that is watching, man. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. Go check Philly 500 if you are the one person in the world that doesn't know who he is, and go subscribe. Because come on, you got to go show love to the King Dingbat. And of course, come on back tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern for the lunchtime live. We're gonna have Jacoby Stevens on the channel, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace.